Right now, as you listen to this, your body is broadcasting a frequency about money, not a metaphorical frequency. A measurable electromagnetic signal that extends several feet beyond your skin and interacts with every person, every opportunity, and every financial possibility in your field. The HeartMath Institute has proven that the human heart generates an electromagnetic field 5,000 times more powerful than the brain. This field is not contained inside your chest. It radiates outward, carrying information about your emotional state into the environment around you. And the quantum field, the infinite matrix of probability from which all of your financial reality is constructed, responds to this signal with the same obedience a mirror responds to whatever stands before it. It does not choose what to reflect. It reflects. It does not decide whether to obey. It obeys. Neville Goddard taught this decades before science had the instruments to confirm it. He said that your state of consciousness determines your reality with the precision of a physical law, not as a possibility, as a certainty. Today, you are going to learn exactly what the money frequency is and how your body produces it. You are going to learn why most people broadcast a poverty signal without knowing it, and you are going to learn the 4 ways to calibrate your frequency so that the quantum field has no option but to deliver the financial reality you assume as truth. To understand why the universe obeys your money frequency, you need to know 3 scientific discoveries that connect quantum physics with wealth manifestation in a way that leaves no room for doubt. The first comes from the HeartMath Institute. They have demonstrated that the heart is not simply a blood pump. It is an electromagnetic organ with its own nervous system containing over 40,000 independent neurons. Some scientists call it the heart brain. And this cardiac brain sends more information to the cranial brain than the other way around. This means your heart does not obey your mind. Your mind obeys your heart. When your heart is in a state of coherence, when its rhythm is smooth and harmonious rather than chaotic and irregular, it produces an electromagnetic field that is measurably more powerful and more ordered. And an ordered field is a field that the quantum field can read with clarity. The second discovery comes from neuroscience. Your emotional state is not a private internal experience. It is an electromagnetic signal that your body broadcasts to the environment. When you feel financial fear, your field contracts and emits a specific frequency. When you feel financial peace, it expands and emits a completely different one. These frequencies are measurable. They are not invisible. They are not mystical. They are electromagnetic waves as real as the radio waves carrying your favorite station. The third discovery comes from quantum physics. The observer effect demonstrates that reality does not exist in a defined state until it is observed. Particles exist as probability waves until an observer collapses those waves into a specific form. You are an observer, and the quality of your observation, determined by your electromagnetic frequency, decides which possibilities collapse into your financial experience. Researchers like Dr. Joe Dispenza have documented cases where people who changed their electromagnetic frequency through heart coherence and sustained emotional practice experienced transformations in their health, relationships, and finances that defy conventional explanation. Not because they were special people, because they applied the law of frequency consistently and measurably. What Dispenza measures in the laboratory is exactly what Neville Goddard taught in his lectures. The difference is that Neville did not have the instruments to prove it. He only had decades of practice and thousands of testimonials confirming that the law works. Now science has the instruments, and what it measures confirms what Neville knew. Before I reveal the 4 ways to calibrate your money frequency, hit the like button right now. That act creates coherence between your intention and your action. Your frequency strengthens every time you act in alignment with what you are learning. Subscribe and turn on notifications because the next video will teach you how to detect your exact money frequency at any moment of the day and how to correct it in seconds. And write in the comments, "My frequency commands the universe." Those 5 words are more than a declaration. They are a real-time recalibration. When you write them, your body registers the action as coherent with the concept, and coherence is what amplifies frequency. Do it now. The first way to calibrate your money frequency is called cardiac coherence, and it is the foundation upon which the other three depend. When your heart is in coherence, its rhythm becomes smooth and ordered instead of chaotic and irregular. And an ordered heart field produces a signal that is exponentially clearer than a chaotic one. Think of it like a radio transmission. If the signal has static, the receiver cannot interpret it, but if the signal is clean, the receiver picks it up perfectly. Your heart is the transmitter, the quantum field is the receiver, and cardiac coherence is what cleans your signal of static. Have you noticed that in moments of deep inner peace, things seem to flow more easily? The right people appear. Opportunities present themselves. Synchronicities multiply. That is not magic. That is your heart emitting a coherent signal that the quantum field can read and must respond to. When HeartMath studied what happens when heart and brain synchronize through coherence, they discovered something remarkable. The power of your electromagnetic field does not simply add together. It multiplies. It is the difference between 100 people shouting at the same time with no coordination and 100 people singing in unison. The volume might be similar, but the clarity and impact of the unified singing is incomparably superior. Your signal, when heart and brain are in coherence, is not stronger by simple addition. It is exponentially clearer. And clarity is what the quantum field needs to execute an instruction. You can scream an instruction with all your force, but if the instruction has static, the field cannot understand it. Or you can whisper an instruction with perfect clarity, and the field executes it instantly. Cardiac coherence is the clear whisper that is worth more than the chaotic scream. In contrast, when you are in stress, anxiety, or financial fear, your cardiac field becomes chaotic, and a chaotic field produces a signal the quantum field cannot interpret clearly. It is not that the universe ignores you. It is that it cannot understand what you are asking because your signal has too much static. Neville Goddard intuitively understood this when he taught that the feeling of the wish fulfilled must be one of peace, not intense emotion. Peace produces coherence, intense emotion produces chaos, and coherence is what the universe obeys. A financial advisor in his late 50s described his experience with cardiac coherence. He said, "I practiced visualization with intense emotion for years. I forced happiness, forced gratitude, and nothing manifested financially. When I learned about cardiac coherence and started practicing simply peace, calm, quiet stillness of the heart before any manifestation technique, everything changed. I did not manifest faster because I visualized better. I manifested because I cleaned the signal." The same visualization with a clean signal produced in weeks what the chaotic signal did not produce in years. The consequence of not establishing cardiac coherence is that all your wealth techniques operate with static. You visualize with static, you affirm with static, you assume with static, and the quantum field cannot execute an instruction it cannot read. What can you do today? Before any manifestation practice, before visualizing, before assuming, before feeling your wish fulfilled, dedicate 3 minutes to cardiac coherence. Close your eyes, place your attention on your heart, and breathe slowly as if the air were entering and leaving directly from your chest, not from your nose, from your heart. 5 seconds inhaling, 5 seconds exhaling, without forcing, without controlling, just flowing. After 3 minutes, your heart rhythm smooths, your field orders itself, and your signal cleans. At that point, any wealth technique you apply will be exponentially more powerful because your transmitter is functioning without static for the first time. There is something specific about cardiac coherence and money that makes this practice especially powerful for financial manifestation. Money is one of the most emotionally charged domains in human psychology. Most people carry layers of fear, shame, guilt, and anxiety around money that they are not even aware of. These buried emotions create a constant background static in your electromagnetic field that specifically interferes with financial possibilities. You could have perfect coherence about your health, your relationships, your creative life, but the moment you think about money, your field destabilizes. The static returns, and the quantum field receives a contradictory signal, clear about everything else, chaotic about finances. This is why some people manifest easily in every area of life except money. Their financial static is deeper and more entrenched than their static in other domains. Cardiac coherence before any financial thought, decision, or practice creates a window of clarity, a moment where the financial static is temporarily silenced and your heart can broadcast a clean money signal. That window may only last a few minutes at first, but with daily practice, it extends. 5 minutes becomes 10, 10 becomes 30, and eventually the coherent state around money becomes your new default. Not because you forced it, because your nervous system learned that money can coexist with calm, and a nervous system that associates money with calm is a nervous system that attracts it instead of repelling it. But the second way to calibrate determines what information your signal carries. The second way is called sustained emotional charge, and this is where Neville Goddard focused the majority of his practical teaching about wealth. A frequency has two components: the quality of the signal, which is the coherence we just learned, and the content of the signal, which is the emotion that charges it. You can have a perfectly coherent signal charged with fear, and the quantum field will obey that coherent fear signal with the same efficiency it would obey a coherent abundance signal. Coherence does not choose the content. It amplifies whatever you give it. This is why what Neville taught about feeling is so critical. Not just any feeling. The specific feeling of your financial wish fulfilled, sustained for a period long enough for your field to register it as your new baseline frequency. How long is long enough? Neuroscience suggests that maintaining an emotion for at least 17 consecutive seconds begins to create a neural pattern, and maintaining it for 68 consecutive seconds establishes a circuit that your brain begins to travel automatically. Neville did not speak in seconds. He spoke in persistence. He said that an assumption maintained with feeling, persisted in day after day, hardens into fact. Science now tells us that this hardening begins at 17 seconds and consolidates with daily repetition. Think of it like tuning a radio station. If you change frequency every 3 seconds, you never hear a complete song. But if you stay on one frequency for at least 68 seconds, the song begins to play clearly. And if you return to that frequency every day, it becomes your default station. Your subconscious tunes to it automatically without you needing to search. Once your subconscious learns the frequency, the quantum field responds not to a practice you do, but to an identity you are. And there is nothing for wealth to do except show up for the person whose identity already includes it. A woman in her early 60s described this process perfectly. She said, "I tried to feel abundant for years, but it was always a flash. 2 seconds of feeling wealth and then my mind dragged me back to fear. When I learned to sustain the feeling, to stay in it consciously for at least a minute, everything changed." That minute was like planting a deep seed instead of scattering dust on the surface. The consequence of not sustaining the emotion is that your signal changes content so rapidly that the quantum field cannot stabilize a response. It is like giving contradictory orders to an employee every 3 seconds. The employee freezes. Not because they are incompetent, because your instructions are incoherent. What can you do today? Choose the emotion of your financial wish fulfilled, and sustain it for 68 seconds. Use a timer if necessary. Do not let your mind pull you out of the feeling during those 68 seconds. If it does, start again. 68 continuous seconds is all you need for the quantum field to register a clear financial instruction. But the third way to calibrate is what most people ignore and what can sabotage everything else. If what you are learning today is changing how you understand your relationship with money and manifestation, share this video right now with someone who needs to know that their body is an electromagnetic transmitter more powerful than any human technology. Subscribe because the next video will teach you how to detect your current money frequency at any moment. The third way is called eliminating parasitic frequencies, and it is the reason why many people practice correctly and still do not manifest the wealth they desire. A parasitic frequency is any emotional signal that contradicts your primary signal without your awareness. You can dedicate 5 minutes every morning to feeling abundance with perfect coherence. But if during the remaining 15 hours and 55 minutes of the day, your body emits fear every time you open your email, anxiety every time you think about bills, and resentment every time you see someone else's financial success, those parasitic frequencies completely cancel your morning practice. It is like trying to fill a bathtub with the drain open. You pour water every morning, but during the rest of the day, the water escapes, and by the end of the day, the tub is empty. Neville Goddard addressed this with his concept of the mental diet. He said you must watch your state of consciousness not only during formal practice, during the entire day. Every negative thought you allow, every emotion of scarcity you do not correct, every fear reaction you let pass without questioning, is a parasitic frequency that consumes the energy of your primary signal. Have you noticed that after an incredible morning practice, you feel elevated for an hour, and then gradually return to your habitual financial state? That is not because the practice failed. It is because the parasitic frequencies of the day restored the old signal. The practice worked perfectly for an hour, but then it was overwhelmed in volume by 15 hours of contradictory signals. There is a practical way to identify your most powerful financial parasitic frequencies. They are the automatic emotional reactions you have to everyday money situations. The pang of anxiety when you see a high price, the knot in your stomach when a bill arrives, the tension in your shoulders when someone mentions money, the involuntary sigh when you think about your financial future. Each of these reactions is a parasitic frequency that your body emits automatically without your permission, and each one contradicts the abundance signal you're trying to emit during your morning practice. The good news is that parasitic frequencies do not need to be eliminated by force, they need to be replaced. Each time you notice an automatic scarcity reaction, do not fight it. Simply introduce the response of the new state. If you feel anxiety at a price, introduce calm. If you feel tension thinking about bills, introduce relaxation, not as a mental exercise, as a bodily response, a change in posture, a deeper breath, a release of the shoulders. That bodily replacement, repeated day after day, weakens the parasitic frequency and replaces it with a signal coherent with your desired wealth. The consequence of not addressing parasitic frequencies is that you live in a cycle where you manifest in the morning and unmanifest in the afternoon, every day, with zero net progress. What can you do? For one complete day, observe how many times your body emits a frequency that contradicts your financial desire. Do not try to change it yet, just count. The number will surprise you, and that surprise is the first step toward closing the drain of the bathtub. Let me give you a specific example of how parasitic frequencies sabotage wealth. Imagine you do a perfect morning practice. 5 minutes of cardiac coherence followed by 68 seconds of feeling financially abundant. Your signal is clean, charged, coherent. Then you open your phone, you see a news headline about economic recession. Your stomach tightens. Parasitic frequency 1, you check your bank account. The number is lower than you expected. Your jaw clenches. Parasitic frequency 2, a colleague mentions they got a promotion and a raise. You feel a flash of envy mixed with inadequacy. Parasitic frequency 3, it is not even noon and 3 parasitic frequencies have already begun eroding your morning signal. By evening, the net effect of your morning practice is 0 or negative. This is not a willpower problem, it is an awareness problem. You cannot change what you do not notice. The exercise of counting is not about judging yourself. It is about illuminating the invisible signals that have been running your financial life without your consent for decades. Once you see them, they begin to lose power, not because you fight them, because awareness itself changes the frequency. An observed parasitic signal is weaker than an unobserved one. That is the observer effect applied to your own electromagnetic field. But the fourth way to calibrate is the most powerful of all, because it operates at the moment when your signal is strongest. The fourth way is called the Nocturnal Impression, and it is where everything you learned converges into a single act of quantum wealth creation. You already know that the final minutes before sleep are the moment of maximum receptivity for your subconscious. Theta waves dominate, your analytical mind deactivates, and your subconscious becomes completely exposed to whatever impression you give it. Now combine this with what you learned about frequency. In the theta state, your electromagnetic field is more receptive to programming than during any other moment of the day. The impression you give your subconscious before sleep does not only program your mind, it programs your electromagnetic field for the next 8 hours of sleep. 8 hours of continuous emission of the frequency you imprinted in the last minutes of consciousness. That is 1/3 of your day emitting a signal without the interruptions of parasitic frequencies. Because when you sleep, there are no emails to frighten you, no news to worry you, no comparisons to diminish you, only your subconscious emitting the frequency you gave it. Neville Goddard considered the minutes before sleep the most sacred moment of the day for wealth creation. And science now confirms why. It is the moment where you can program 1/3 of your existence with a clean, coherent signal charged with the exact emotion of your financial wish fulfilled. A business owner in his early 50s described the impact of combining cardiac coherence with the nocturnal impression for his finances. He said, "The first night I practiced heart coherence before falling asleep in the feeling of financial abundance, I had the most vivid dream of my life. I dreamed I was living the financial life I had been assuming, with a clarity I cannot describe. I woke up with a sensation I had never had, the sensation that it was already true, not as a wish, as a fact. And that sensation stayed with me for 3 days without effort. The consequence of not programming the nocturnal impression is that you waste 1/3 of your wealth-creating capacity every day. 8 hours of potentially clean signal wasted because you fell asleep worried about money. What can you do tonight? Lie down, practice cardiac coherence for 3 minutes, 5 seconds inhaling, 5 exhaling, from the heart. When you feel the calm of coherence, introduce the emotion of your financial wish fulfilled. Sustain it, not with force, with naturalness, like someone remembering something that already happened, and let that emotion be the last impression your subconscious receives before sleep takes you. 8 hours of clean financial signal begin at that moment. Here is something remarkable that many people report after their first week of combining cardiac coherence with the nocturnal impression for wealth. They do not just feel different about money, they feel different about everything. Their sleep improves, their anxiety decreases, their relationships soften, their creativity increases. Because when you change the frequency you broadcast during sleep, you are not just changing your financial reality. You are changing the fundamental signal your entire being emits into the world. Financial peace is not an isolated state. It is a doorway to peace in every area of your life. When you stop fighting money, you stop fighting everything. When you allow wealth, you allow joy. And when your nocturnal signal is clean and coherent, your subconscious works through the night building not just financial bridges, but bridges in every domain of your experience. The 8 hours of clean signal do not only reprogram your relationship with money, they reprogram your relationship with reality itself. Now I want to guide you through the complete money frequency calibration experience. Close your eyes. Place your attention on your heart, not on your mind. On your heart. Feel the space of your chest. Feel the beating. Now begin breathing as if the air were entering and leaving directly from your heart. 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. Smooth, without forcing. Let each breath smooth the rhythm of your heart. Let the static dissolve. Let your field order itself. 3 more breaths. With each exhale, your signal becomes cleaner, clearer, more powerful. Now from this coherence, introduce the feeling of your financial wish fulfilled. Do not think it, feel it, as something that already happened, as a memory you visit with calm, without urgency, without hope, with the absolute naturalness of a completed financial fact. Feel how your heart responds to this emotion, how your field charges with this content. Imagine that from your chest, golden rings of frequency expand outward, like ripples in water. Each ring carries the information of your financial desire fulfilled, and each ring expands beyond your body, beyond your room, beyond your building, into the infinite quantum field that surrounds you, and the field receives your signal, clear, coherent, charged, and it has no option. It obeys, not because you are special, because it is law. The same law that makes gravity work, the same law that makes light travel, a law that does not negotiate, does not evaluate, does not judge, only obeys the frequency it receives. Stay here a moment longer. Feel the quiet power of what you are doing. You are not meditating, you are not wishing, you are transmitting. A quantum signal calibrated consciously for the first time in your financial life. And that signal, unlike the automatic signals your body has been emitting for decades, has direction, has clarity, has chosen content, and has the coherence of the heart backing it. There is nothing in your financial life that cannot change when your frequency changes, because your entire financial reality is a reflection of your frequency. Every number in your bank account, every opportunity that appears or disappears, everything is frequency reflected. And today, for the first time, the frequency has a conscious operator. You. When you open your eyes, remember that your field continues to emit. Every moment of the day, every emotion you feel feeds the signal. Choose consciously what frequency you emit. Because the universe cannot choose not to obey, it can only obey the frequency it receives. What you learned today is not another manifestation technique. It is the fundamental mechanism behind every wealth manifestation that has ever worked. Cardiac coherence cleans your signal. Sustained emotional charge gives it financial content. Elimination of parasitic frequencies protects the signal throughout the day. And the Nocturnal Impression programs 1/3 of your existence with clean emission. These 4 components are the answer to why some people manifest wealth easily, while others struggle for years. Those who manifest have a coherent, charged, and consistent money frequency. Those who struggle have a chaotic, contradictory signal full of static. Neville Goddard did not use these words, but he taught exactly this mechanism. He said that an assumption persisted in with feeling hardens into fact. Assumption is the content of the signal, persistence is the duration of the emission, and feeling is the power of the charge. Science and spirituality saying the same thing with different vocabularies, and when you combine them, you get an understanding of wealth manifestation that leaves no room for doubt. Your body is a quantum transmitter, your emotion is the signal, and the universe is a receiver that cannot do anything other than obey. That is not a belief, it is a law. And from tonight, you use it consciously. Imagine for a moment that you could see your electromagnetic field the way it looks in a HeartMath laboratory. You would see waves emanating from your chest in all directions. Sometimes chaotic, irregular, full of peaks and valleys, sometimes smooth, ordered, expanding in perfect circles like ripples on a still lake. The first image is how your field looks when you live on emotional autopilot about money. The second is how it looks when you calibrate your frequency consciously. And the difference between those 2 images is the difference between a financial life where things happen to you and a financial life where things respond to what you emit. From tonight, there is a conscious direction. From tonight, your field has clear financial instructions, and from tonight, the universe has a money signal it cannot ignore. Not because you are special, because the law makes no exceptions, and the law says that your frequency is an order the quantum field executes with the precision of a mirror that cannot reflect anything other than what stands before it. Place something different before it, and the reflection changes. That simple, that powerful, that inevitable. Write in the comments, "My money frequency is clear," followed by one word that describes the primary emotion you want your financial signal to carry. Abundance, peace, freedom, security. That word is the content of your frequency declared publicly, and when you declare it, you amplify the signal. Share this video with every person who needs to understand that wealth manifestation is not magic. It is physics, it is electromagnetic, it is measurable, and it is inevitable when the correct frequency is emitted with enough coherence and persistence. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because in the next video, you will learn how to detect your current money frequency at any moment of the day, the instant self-correction method that ensures your financial signal stays clean 24 hours a day. Do not miss it. Your money frequency changed today, and the universe is already obeying.